On Christmas morning in the snowy town of Evergreen Falls, children excitedly choose their special holiday hats, bright red Santa caps, cozy reindeer beanies, and sparkling elf hats. The story follows three American kids, Ethan, Lily, and Jacob, as they prepare for the town's annual Christmas parade. Each hat they wear carries a magical meaning, guiding them through fun challenges, acts of kindness, and unexpected holiday adventures. As the parade begins, the children discover that the true magic of Christmas isn't in the hat they wear, but in the joy, friendship, and generosity they share with the world. The sun rose gently over Evergreen Falls, brushing the snowy rooftops with a soft golden glow. Christmas morning had arrived, and the entire town seemed to shimmer with excitement. Every house along Maple Street was decorated with glowing lights and bright ribbons, and the air smelled of pine, cinnamon, and fresh snow. For the children of Evergreen Falls, today wasn't just Christmas. It was the day of the Great Christmas Hat Tradition, a magical celebration that everyone looked forward to. Inside a cozy blue house at the end of the street, Ethan Parker, an 11-year-old with sandy blonde hair and bright hazel eyes, woke up the moment he heard faint jingling bells outside. That sound meant the Christmas parade committee was beginning their preparations downtown, and Ethan knew he needed to be ready for an amazing day. He rushed to his frosted window and breathed out a circle of warm air to clear the glass. Outside, the world looked like a snow globe brought to life. Children were building snowmen, families were carrying out last-minute decorations, and small birds hopped across fences dusted with white sparkles. From downstairs, his mother called out, "Ethan, breakfast is ready, and remember, you need to choose your Christmas hat." Ethan grinned. This was the moment he waited for every year. He darted downstairs and entered the kitchen, where his father, Mark Parker, was flipping cinnamon pancakes while wearing his favorite reindeer apron. His mother, Claire Parker, was setting out mugs of hot chocolate with marshmallows floating like little snowflakes. On the table lay three special hats: a bright red Santa hat, fluffy and cheerful; a soft reindeer hat, warm with tiny felt antlers; and a sparkling green elf hat, tipped with a golden bell. Ethan sat down, staring at them with excitement and confusion. "I don't know which one to choose this year," he admitted. His mother smiled. "The right hat will choose you. Just listen to your heart." Before Ethan could respond, a knock echoed through the house. He hurried to the door and opened it to find Lily Anderson, his best friend, bundled in her red coat and holding 2 cups of peppermint cocoa. "Merry Christmas, Ethan," she said cheerfully as she stepped inside. "Merry Christmas," he replied. Behind her trotted Sunny, the Andersons' golden retriever, happily shaking off snow. Lily peeked at the hats. "Ooh, the annual hat choosing. I always love this part." Ethan laughed. "I still can't decide." "I think the elf hat suits you," Lily said thoughtfully. "You always end up helping people in unexpected ways. That's very elf-like." Before Ethan could reply, the front door burst open again, this time without knocking. Jacob Miller, their energetic friend with windswept brown hair, stumbled in, covered in snow and breathing hard. "Guys, you won't believe what I just saw downtown." "What?" Ethan and Lily asked in unison. "There's a new float, huge, with a glowing star on top, and it pulses." "Pulses?" Lily asked in a daze. "Like it's alive. And get this, the mayor said only kids wearing Christmas hats can get close to it. Something about the hats helping the magic work." Ethan felt a tingling sensation run through his fingers. He looked at the hats again. Somehow, they seemed to sparkle just a little bit more than before. "Wow," Ethan whispered. "This year really is different." Jacob nodded eagerly. We have to go see it before noon, but you need to choose your hat first." Before Ethan could make his decision, the doorbell rang again, this time with a calm, steady tone. Ethan opened the door slowly. Standing there was Mayor Thompson, wearing a thick navy coat and holding a rolled-up scroll tied with a silver ribbon. Snowflakes sparkled in his gray beard, and his warm eyes twinkled with the spirit of Christmas. "Good morning, Ethan Parker," the mayor greeted kindly. "I have something for you." He handed Ethan the scroll. With trembling hands, Ethan untied the ribbon and unrolled the paper. The writing inside shimmered in golden ink. To Ethan Parker. Your choice today will shape the magic of Christmas for the children of Evergreen Falls. Choose wisely. The Christmas Council. Ethan gasped. The Christmas Council? They're real? Lily's jaw dropped. I thought they were just part of the legends. Jacob's eyes sparkled. Dude, you're chosen. Mayor Thompson chuckled softly. Some legends become real when the right child comes along. Ethan's heart thumped hard. The hats on the table seemed to glow gently, as if they were waiting for him. Santa, reindeer, elf, each hat had guided his past adventures, but this year felt bigger, more magical, more important. The mayor placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. Magic recognizes those who carry kindness in their hearts. Today, it recognizes you. Ethan glanced at Lily and Jacob, who stood watching with hopeful eyes. The snow outside fell slowly, like the sky was holding its breath for his decision. He walked to the table one step at a time. He closed his eyes. He reached out and gently placed his hand on the elf hat. The golden bell jingled softly, almost like it whispered, "Good choice." A warm glow spread through Ethan's fingers, up his arm, and into his chest, filling him with a sudden burst of courage. Lily beamed. "I knew it." Jacob pumped his fist. "Yes, now we can go see the float." Mayor Thompson smiled proudly. "Then your Christmas adventure begins now." Ethan took a deep breath. "I'm ready." And deep in the snowy heart of Evergreen Falls, something magical awakened, waiting for Ethan to find it. Snow crunched under Ethan's boots as he stepped outside wearing his new elf hat. The golden bell at the tip jingled softly with every movement, and each sound felt like a little spark of magic floating in the air. Lily walked beside him, bundled tightly in her coat, while Jacob marched ahead, full of restless energy. Evergreen Falls was fully awake now. Children ran excitedly through the streets, sleds scraped over icy hills, and the scent of gingerbread drifted from open windows. Every house seemed brighter than usual, as though the decorations themselves were celebrating. Jacob turned around, walking backward as he talked. "Hurry up, guys. The float is probably surrounded by people already." "We're coming," Ethan laughed. "It's not like the star is going to fly away." Jacob squinted. "Honestly, I'm not sure it can't." Lily rolled her eyes but couldn't hide her curiosity. "You said it pulses, right? Like a heartbeat?" Jacob nodded. "Yeah, and when I walked close to it, the snowflakes around me sparkled." Ethan's heart fluttered. His elf hat jingled again, and a warm feeling spread across his chest. He didn't know whether it was excitement or magic, or maybe both. The trio turned onto Main Street. The entire area had been transformed into a Christmas wonderland. Candy cane poles lined the sidewalks, red and green ribbons crisscrossed above the street, and big snowflake lanterns glowed like stars, hanging low enough to touch. The closer they got to the town square, the thicker the crowd became. Parents held coffee mugs, kids waved miniature holiday flags, and vendors sold hot cocoa, popcorn, and colorful Christmas hats. Ethan noticed that everyone was wearing some kind of hat: Santa hats, snowman hats, elf hats, even hats shaped like gingerbread men. But none looked quite like Ethan's. His elf hat seemed to shimmer, as if dusted with tiny crystals of light. A few kids stared at it with wide eyes. Lily whispered, "I think your hat is glowing." "I noticed that too," Ethan said quietly. Jacob grinned. "Good. That means the council chose you for something big." Ethan wasn't sure whether to feel proud or overwhelmed. When they reached the town square, a collective gasp rose from the crowd. In the center stood the new float, massive, dazzling, breathtaking. The base of the float looked like a snowy mountain sculpted from shimmering white wood. On the peak stood a tall, silver stand holding a star larger than any holiday decoration Ethan had ever seen. The star was made of crystal-like glass with swirling patterns inside it, as if tiny galaxies were trapped within. And it truly was pulsing. Soft waves of light rippled from its center, slow, gentle, rhythmic, like breathing. Every time it glowed, the snow on the ground sparkled faintly in response. "Whoa," Ethan breathed. Even Lily was speechless. "It's beautiful." Jacob puffed out his chest. "See? I told you it was alive looking." A rope fence circled the float, and a sign stood at the entrance. "Magic Zone. Only children wearing Christmas hats may enter." Beside the sign was a volunteer dressed like a nutcracker. "Only kids with hats," Lily whispered. "Good thing we came prepared," Jacob said. The nutcracker volunteer smiled warmly and lifted the rope for them. "Go on, children, but approach the star slowly. It's sensitive." Sensitive? Ethan shared a look with Lily and Jacob. They stepped in. Inside the magic zone, everything felt different. Quieter, but also somehow fuller, like the air itself hummed with energy. Ethan's elf hat seemed to vibrate softly, as if it were responding to the star. Jacob elbowed him. "Try getting closer." Ethan took a step, then another. The star brightened. Lily gasped. "It's reacting to you." Ethan swallowed, unsure whether he should go farther. Jacob whispered, "Do it." Ethan stepped closer until he stood only a few feet from the star. The crystal glow washed over him, warm and gentle. Inside it, he could see swirling flecks of gold, green, and silver, almost like snow caught in a whirlwind. Then, whoosh! The star released a pulse of light that rippled outward, rushing against Ethan like a breeze. His elf hat jingled sharply, and a tiny spark of light flashed from its bell, dancing in the air. The crowd murmured. "Did you see that? It responded to that boy. His hat glowed." Ethan froze. Lily grabbed his arm. "Ethan, your hat is glowing brighter." Sure enough, the elf hat sparkled with a soft green light that grew stronger every second. Then the star pulsed again, harder this time. Boom. Shh. A ring of light spread outward, and the snowflakes around Ethan burst into glitter. The audience gasped again. Jacob's eyes widened. "Whoa, dude, it's connecting with you." But before Ethan could react further, a firm voice called out from behind them. "Step back, children." Mayor Thompson hurried forward, his coat flapping. He looked breathless, as though he had run from the other side of the town. Ethan stepped away from the star, and the pulsing slowed, dimming to a soft glow. The mayor approached Ethan with concern and curiosity in his eyes. "Ethan Parker, your hat reacted, didn't it?" Ethan nodded nervously. "I didn't do anything, I just walked." "You walked with the right heart, and Christmas magic recognizes that." The Nutcracker volunteer approached cautiously. "Sir, is it safe? The star seems more active than earlier." Mayor Thompson gave Ethan a long, thoughtful look. "It's safe, as long as the chosen child is calm." "The chosen child?" Lily echoed. Jacob elbowed Ethan again. "That's you!" Ethan shook his head quickly. "I didn't ask to be chosen." Magic doesn't always wait for permission. It follows where kindness leads. Before Ethan could answer, the star pulsed again, but this time softly, like a whisper instead of a shout. The swirling patterns inside shifted, revealing something new. A faint image, a shape, a symbol. Lily gasped. "Ethan, it's showing something." The image grew clearer. It looked like a small green hat with a golden bell. Jacob whispered, "No way, it's your elf hat." Ethan stared at the star, his heart thumping loudly. The symbol inside the star shimmered and changed again, this time forming a simple message written in glowing light. "Find the missing light." Ethan's breath caught. Lily clutched his sleeve. "Find the missing what?" Jacob squinted. "Missing light? What does that mean?" Mayor Thompson took a deep breath and spoke quietly, almost to himself. "The star is sending a quest." "A quest?" Ethan repeated. The mayor nodded slowly. "Ethan Parker, it seems Christmas magic has chosen you for something extraordinary. The star is losing part of its power, and only you and your friends can find the missing light." Ethan stared at the glowing message inside the star, feeling his world tilt. He wasn't just part of the magic anymore, he was at the center of it. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The star continued glowing faintly, the message, "Find the missing light," shimmering at its center like a quiet heartbeat. Kids around Ethan whispered to each other, wondering what magic they had just witnessed. Lily held her breath. Jacob's mouth hung open. Ethan felt frozen, not from the cold, but from the weight of the words. Mayor Thompson stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Ethan, when the Christmas Council sends a message, it means the magic of Evergreen Falls is in danger." Ethan swallowed hard. "Danger? But everything looks fine." The mayor shook his head. "Christmas magic doesn't fade all at once. It disappears slowly, like a candle burning low. If part of the star's light is missing, the parade, the decorations, even the snow sparkle, all of it will weaken." Lily frowned. "But why Ethan? Why not an adult?" The mayor smiled gently. "Because children carry something adults often forget: pure imagination. And imagination is the spark Christmas magic needs." Jacob puffed out his chest, proudly. "Then we're perfect for this." Ethan wasn't so sure. Find the missing light sounded important, but also overwhelming. What if he messed up? What if the star chose the wrong kid? The Mayor Thompson reached into his coat and pulled out a small wooden box, carved with snowflake patterns. "Ethan," he said softly, "the moment your hat glowed, this box warmed up in my pocket. It's meant for you." Ethan hesitated. "What is it?" "A guide," the mayor answered. "A gift from the Christmas Council for the chosen child." The mayor opened the box. Inside was a folded paper glowing faintly green. Not printed, not drawn, but glowing, like moonlight caught in a map's shape. Ethan lifted it carefully. The moment he touched it, the elf hat on his head jingled sharply. The map unfolded itself in his hands. Lily gasped. Jacob stepped even closer. The map was unlike anything Ethan had seen. Snowflakes floated above it like tiny holograms. Lines of light formed icy rivers, snowy hills, and winding paths. 3 glowing stars marked specific spots around Evergreen Falls. And at the bottom of the map, written in swirling silver letters, were the words, "The light is hidden in fragments. 3 pieces, 3 trials, 3 hearts." Jacob whispered, "3? That must mean us." Lily nodded slowly. 3 friends, 3 pieces, 3 trials. Ethan stared at the glowing markers on the map. One pulsed brighter than the others, right near the edge of Evergreen Forest. The light flickered as though calling him. The mayor cleared his throat. "This map will guide you, but be warned, the trials won't be dangerous, just challenging. Christmas magic likes to test courage, kindness, and imagination." Jacob grinned. "Then we're perfect for this." Ethan wasn't so sure. Finding the missing light sounded important, but also overwhelming. What if he messed up? What if the star chose the wrong kid? The mayor placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder again. The first location is near Evergreen Forest. Start there. And remember, Christmas magic trusts you. Trust it back. Ethan took a deep breath. We will. Lily straightened her scarf. So, what now? Jacob clapped his hands. We go! The forest is only a 15-minute walk. Ethan glanced at the star one last time. The message had faded, but the light inside looked steadier now, still dim, but hopeful. Maybe it believed in him too. The trio walked away from the town square, the glowing map clutched safely in Ethan's hands. Snowflakes drifted lazily around them, and the streets grew quieter as they moved toward the edge of town. The buildings gave way to tall pine trees dusted with fresh snow. Evergreen Forest stood before them, deep, quiet, and beautiful. Snow coated every branch, and small icicles sparkled like diamonds in the morning light. Ethan unfolded the map again. A glowing snowflake floated above the page, pointing toward a narrow trail that cut into the trees. This is it, he said. Lily stepped beside him. Whatever trial is waiting, we face it together. Jacob smirked. Obviously, who else would keep you two out of trouble? They followed the glowing snowflake deeper into the forest. The world grew quieter. Snow muffled their steps, and the air smelled sharp and clean. The map glowed brighter with every step, the first location pulsing gently like a lantern. They approached a small clearing. In the center stood an old wooden lantern post, half buried in snow. A tiny silver bell hung from it, unmoving. Lily frowned. This doesn't look magical. Jacob shrugged. Maybe the trial hasn't started yet. Ethan stepped closer. The moment he reached out and brushed a finger against the lantern, ding! The silver bell rang loudly, echoing through the trees. Snowflakes around them froze mid-air. The wind stopped. The air shimmered, and then a warm voice filled the clearing. Trial 1. The Test of Kindness. Lily jumped back. What was that? Before anyone could answer, 3 small figures appeared out of thin air. They were no taller than 2 feet, with tiny pointed boots, rosy noses, and hats shaped like miniature Christmas trees. Jacob whispered, Are those elf sprites? Ethan nodded slowly. I think so. The sprites looked at the children with curious, twinkling eyes. One wore a blue scarf and sniffled miserably. Another clutched a broken candy cane. The other sat on the snow, rubbing a twisted ankle. The warm voice spoke again. To find the first fragment of light, show kindness freely. Ethan exchanged a look with his friends. We have to help them. Lily knelt beside the sprite with the twisted ankle. It's okay. Hold still. She wrapped her scarf gently around its tiny leg. Jacob sat next to the sprite with the broken candy cane. Don't worry, little dude. I've got this. He pulled out his pocket knife and carefully shaved the broken edge into a perfect shape. Ta-da! The sprite beamed. Ethan turned to the sprite with the sniffles. Here, he said softly, removing his gloves and offering a tissue from his pocket. You'll feel better soon. The sprites exchanged looks, and then, suddenly, they glowed. Bright, warm light exploded from them, swirling upwards like fireflies. The silver bell above them rang again. Ding! The warm voice returned. Kindness given freely strengthens Christmas magic. You have passed the first trial. A glowing fragment appeared in front of Ethan, small, bright, and warm, like a tiny piece of the star. He held it gently. The sprites bowed deeply before disappearing in a soft puff of shimmering snow. Lily smiled. We actually did it. Jacob grinned. 1 down, 2 to go. Ethan gazed at the glowing fragment. It pulsed with the same rhythm as the star. He felt hope rising in his chest. We're going to save Christmas. And for the first time, he truly believed it. The snow crackled beneath their boots as Ethan, Lily, and Jacob left the clearing. the first fragment of light safely tucked in Ethan's coat pocket. The glow from the fragment pulsed softly, almost like it had a heartbeat of its own. Each step toward the next marker on the map felt heavier, yet more purposeful. Christmas magic was real, and it was now part of their journey. "Did you see that?" Lily whispered, her eyes wide. "The sprites. They just appeared out of nowhere." Jacob chuckled, brushing snow off his coat. "Yeah, and that glowing fragment? It's like holding a piece of the star itself." Ethan nodded, staring down at the small fragment. "We have to keep it safe. The star is counting on us." They followed the glowing path on the map deeper into Evergreen Forest. Pine trees towered on both sides, their branches heavy with snow. The air smelled sharper here, more like pure winter, and a faint wind whispered through the trees as if the forest itself were alive. "This place is huge," Lily said, looking around. "I've never gone this deep before." Jacob shrugged. "We have a map. Don't worry, it's showing us exactly where to go." But as they walked, the forest seemed to grow quieter. Birds disappeared from the branches. The snow no longer sparkled in the same way. Even the sound of their own footsteps seemed muffled, as though the forest was holding its breath. Ethan felt a shiver, not from the cold, but from the weight of the unknown. The first trial had been easier than expected. Kindness was something they all understood. But the map pulsed toward the second marker, and the glow seemed distant, hidden behind a darker part of the forest. Finally, they reached a section where the trees grew taller and closer together, forming a natural archway. From beneath it, a low, hushed whisper carried through the air. "Do you hear that?" Lily asked. Her eyes darted nervously between the trunks. Jacob nodded slowly. "It's like the trees are talking." Ethan clutched his elf hat tighter. That's exactly what it's supposed to be. The math wouldn't lie. The second trial has to be nearby. As they stepped into the archway, the whispers grew clearer. They weren't random. They were words, faint, melodic, almost like the wind itself was singing. "Courage is tested where fear takes root. Only the brave may proceed." Ethan gulped. Courage. This is going to be the second trial. Lily swallowed. Courage is harder than kindness. I don't like the sound of this. Jacob smirked, trying to mask his own nerves. "Hey, we've got each other. That's enough courage, right?" They continued along the path, which twisted and narrowed until they reached a frozen pond. Its surface was smooth as glass, reflecting the snow-laden trees like a giant mirror. But Ethan's map showed the second glowing marker on the far side of the pond. "I don't see a bridge," Lily said nervously, "and the ice looks thin in places." Jacob crouched and tapped the surface with a stick. A sharp, cracking sound echoed. "Yep, that's thin. We're not walking across this without a plan." Ethan examined the glowing path on the map. The marker pulsed again, as if urging him to step forward. "We have to cross. That's the only way to reach the second trial." "Ethan," Lily bit her lip. "What if we fall in?" Jacob grinned. "Then we learn to swim in freezing water." "Kidding. Maybe." Ethan took a deep breath. The elf hat jingled gently. Somehow it felt reassuring. He stepped forward carefully onto the ice. It creaked faintly, but held. "Okay, one step at a time," he whispered. Jacob followed, balancing carefully, while Lily hesitated for a moment before taking Ethan's hand. Together, they slowly crossed the frozen pond. The ice groaned under their weight, and every small crack made them freeze in place. Halfway across, a sudden gust of wind blew across the pond. Snow swirled around them like a miniature blizzard. The whispers returned, louder now, more urgent. "Face what frightens you. Step forward." Lily clutched Ethan's arm tightly. I can't. The wind. It's too strong." Ethan nodded. "I know, it's scary, but we have to keep going. We've faced snowstorms before, remember? And kindness was just the first step. Courage is next. Jacob squared his shoulders. Let's do this together, one step, one moment at a time. The trio inched forward, each step more confident than the last. The elf hat jingled softly, as if cheering Ethan on. Slowly, carefully, they reached the far side of the pond. The wind died down as soon as they stepped onto solid snow again. There, Ethan said, exhaling. We made it. Lily smiled shakily. I guess that was courage. Jacob laughed. See? Not so bad. But I think the real test is still ahead. Ahead, nestled between two tall pine trees, was a small, hollowed-out trunk stump. Inside glowed a pale blue light. Ethan recognized it instantly. The second fragment of the star's missing light. Finally, Ethan whispered, moving closer. But as he reached for it, the light flickered and disappeared. The stump was empty. Wait, Lily exclaimed. It's gone. The whispers returned, softer this time. Courage without trust is incomplete. Only trust opens the path. Ethan looked at his friends. We need to trust the magic and each other. Jacob nodded. Then let's do it together. Ethan stepped forward first, placing both hands over the empty stump. Lily and Jacob mirrored him, holding his hands on either side. The elf hat jingled sharply, and a gentle warmth spread through them all. Slowly, the pale blue fragment of light reappeared, floating above the stump like a tiny, glowing moon. We did it! Lily exclaimed. Ethan caught the fragment carefully. It pulsed softly in rhythm with the first fragment in his coat pocket. 2 down, 1 to go. Jacob grinned. Okay, 1 more to save Christmas. Let's keep going. Ethan looked at the map again. The third marker was farther north, near the edge of the forest where the trees thinned and the snowy hills began. As they began walking toward the next location, Ethan felt something new, a sense of pride mixed with responsibility. The first 2 trials had tested their kindness and courage. The third trial, he knew, would test something even deeper. Something that would challenge not only their magic, but their hearts. And deep down, he couldn't help but smile. Because Christmas magic wasn't just about lights or stars, it was about hope, friendship, and believing in the impossible. The trio trekked steadily through the forest, the first 2 fragments of light safely secured, one tucked in Ethan's coat pocket and the other glowing faintly in his hands. Each step took them closer to the third and final marker, located on the edge of the forest where snowy hills rolled like waves frozen in time. The air grew colder, sharper, and the whispering wind that had accompanied them since the frozen pond seemed to have vanished. A serene quiet settled over the landscape, as if the world itself were waiting for the last trial. Ethan glanced at the map. The glowing path pointed up the tallest hill, which stretched high into the sky, its peak hidden behind a mist of swirling snow. The third fragment pulsed faintly on the map, an icy gold light that seemed to beckon them forward. This is it, Ethan whispered. The last trial. Lily tugged at her scarf nervously. It looks huge and kind of scary. Jacob grinned, brushing snow from his shoulders. Scary's our middle name, right? Lily shot him a look. That's not even true. Ethan adjusted his elf hat, the golden bell jingling softly. The warmth from the 2 fragments reminded him of the first trial in the clearing with the sprites, and the courage it took to cross the frozen pond. But he knew the third trial would be different. He felt it deep in his chest, a quiet tension that mixed excitement with the unknown. The climb began. Snow crunched beneath their boots, the path growing steeper with each step. Tall pine trees lined the hill, their branches thick with snow, and occasionally a gentle flurry of flakes danced down, sparkling in the faint winter sunlight. These hills is huge, Lily muttered, brushing snow from her hair. How are we even going to get to the top? Jacob laughed. 1 step at a time, just like everything else. Ethan led the way, following the glowing path on the map. Halfway up the hill, the snow beneath them shifted suddenly, as if the ground itself had a heartbeat. Shadows stretched across the hillside, tall, moving shapes that made the trio freeze in place. "What's that?" Lily whispered. Ethan squinted, trying to see. The shadows weren't from trees. They moved independently, twisting and stretching like dark smoke in the snow. Jacob stepped forward cautiously. "Looks like the trial isn't going to be easy." Suddenly, the shadows lunged, swirling around them. A cold wind whipped through the hill, carrying the whispers of the past trials, but now distorted, like a challenge taunting them. Imagination is your weapon. Fear is your cage. Only those who create their own path will succeed. Ethan felt a shiver run through him. This trial wasn't about kindness or courage. It was about imagination. The third trial required them to think, to see beyond what their eyes showed them, and to believe in possibilities beyond reason. The shadows danced closer, forming shapes, tall, towering versions of themselves, mimicking their every move but twisting into monstrous forms. Ethan's heart raced. The hill suddenly felt endless, the mist thickening as snow swirled around them. "Imagination. We have to use imagination," Ethan whispered. His elf hat jingled. Somehow the soft sound reminded him that magic was with them. Lily took a deep breath. "Okay, if it's imagination, then we have to pretend." Jacob raised an eyebrow. "Pretend what?" Ethan thought quickly. He remembered the stories his parents told him about Evergreen Falls, about magical snow creatures that appeared only to those who believed, about floating lights that guided travelers, and about the Christmas Council, rewarding those who dared to dream. "Pretend we can create a bridge," Ethan said, pointing at the swirling shadows ahead. "A bridge made of light." Lily looked doubtful, but she trusted Ethan. She stretched out her hands and imagined soft, glowing planks forming beneath their feet. Jacob closed his eyes and pictured sparkling railings of frost appearing along the sides of the bridge. The shadows twisted and lunged again, but as they imagined, something remarkable happened. Faint lines of light appeared on the snow, forming a glowing path that shimmered like glass under the winter sun. Ethan stepped forward. The light held. Lily followed, trusting her imagination, and Jacob brought up the rear. "Keep believing," Ethan shouted over the whispering wind. The shadows shrieked, fading slightly as the light path extended upward. With each step, the golden glow from the third fragment on the map grew stronger, guiding them forward. Halfway up the hill, the shadows shifted again, this time forming a large frozen archway of dark snow, blocking the path completely. The whispers now seemed to mock them. "Only those who combine heart, courage, and imagination may pass." Ethan swallowed, feeling the weight of the words. They had already proven their kindness and courage, but imagination, true imagination, was something more elusive. He closed his eyes and pictured a portal of light, glowing and soft, cutting through the dark archway. Lily and Jacob mirrored his thoughts, focusing all their energy on the same image. The elf hat jingled sharply, as if encouraging him. Slowly, the dark archway began to crack. Lines of light traced across its surface, forming patterns like frost on a window pane. The shadows screamed, twisting and retreating until finally the archway shattered into glittering snowflakes that drifted gently to the ground. The path to the top of the hill was clear. The three friends gasped, looking around. The hill's peak shimmered in sunlight, and there, hovering in the air above a snowy ridge, floated the third fragment, golden, bright, and warm, like a tiny sun caught in the snow. He reached for it, feeling a surge of energy rush through him. The elf hat jingled again, louder this time, almost singing. He held the fragment carefully, and instantly the first two fragments pulsed in rhythm, forming a heartbeat of light across his chest. "We did it," Lily whispered. "All three fragments." Jacob grinned, jumping slightly in excitement. "Yes, Christmas magic is coming back." Ethan looked around at the snow-covered hill, the glowing fragments, and the soft sunlight filtering through the trees. The trials had tested their hearts, their bravery, and their imagination,
and they had passed. Yet a quiet voice inside him reminded him that the journey wasn't over. The fragments were safe, but they still had to return them to the star in the town square. Only then could the Christmas magic fully restore Evergreen Falls. Ethan took a deep breath. "Let's go back. We need to bring these fragments home." Lily nodded. "And maybe stop for hot cocoa on the way?" Jacob laughed. "Always thinking ahead, huh?" The three friends carefully descended the hill, the golden fragments glowing softly in Ethan's coat and hands. The shadows of the third trial were gone, replaced by soft sunlight and sparkling snow. The forest felt alive again, whispering encouragement rather than fear. As they walked, Ethan felt a warm glow inside him, not just from the fragments, but from a sense of purpose, friendship, and belief. Christmas magic was real, and they were now a part of it. And in the distance, he could see the twinkling lights of Evergreen Falls, waiting for them, ready to celebrate the return of its brightest, most magical Christmas yet.
The trio carefully made their way down the snowy hill, the three glowing fragments of the star safely secured, two in Ethan's hands and one tucked inside his coat pocket. The winter sun glinted off the snow, scattering light like tiny diamonds, and for the first time, the forest seemed completely calm. The trials were over, and a quiet sense of victory filled their hearts. Yet Ethan knew their journey wasn't finished. The fragments had to return to the star in the town square for Evergreen Falls to be restored fully. The thought made him both excited and nervous. He had never led such an important mission before, and the responsibility felt heavy, but his elf hat jingled reassuringly, as if whispering encouragement. "Wow," Lily said, brushing snow off her coat. "All three fragments. They're real." She stared at the glowing pieces in Ethan's hands. "And they're beautiful. It feels like holding a little piece of the star itself." Jacob grinned. "We've actually done it. I mean, come on, we passed kindness, courage, and imagination. That's basically superhero level." Ethan laughed softly. "Yeah, but the magic isn't fully back yet. We have to put these back in the star. That's the last step." The forest path back to town was quieter than the morning. Snow muffled their footsteps, and birds were nowhere to be seen. Still, the glowing fragments seemed to hum softly, lighting their way like tiny lanterns. The closer they got to the town's edge, the brighter the sun reflected off the snow, and the more Ethan felt the warmth of the fragments spreading through him. As they emerged from the forest, the familiar streets of Evergreen Falls appeared. The town square was busy with Christmas preparations. Stalls selling hot cocoa and gingerbread lined the sidewalks, while townspeople hung ornaments and twinkling lights. Children ran past, waving and laughing, oblivious to the quiet magic taking place just steps away. Ethan's heart swelled. The town felt alive with anticipation, yet something was missing. The star above the float pulsed faintly, dimmer than it had been earlier. It was as if the star itself were waiting for them. "We're almost there," Ethan said, clutching the fragments tightly. "Just a little further." Lily smiled, trying to keep her nerves steady. "Do you think everyone will see the magic when we place the fragments back?" "I think they will, but we have to focus. The magic comes first, the crowd second." Jacob was bouncing slightly on the balls of his feet, his usual energy returning. "I can't wait to see it light up again. I mean, it's been amazing already, but the full star? That's gonna be insane." They reached the town square. The float with the pulsing star was in the center, surrounded by a gentle crowd of children wearing Christmas hats. The star was beautiful even now, shimmering faintly in its silver frame. Yet the glow of the missing fragments had left it dim, and the crowd seemed to sense the absence of the star's full magic. Mayor Thompson stepped forward as they approached. "Ethan Parker and friends, you've returned safely with the fragments. Now, the final step." Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. He carefully lifted the first fragment and held it near the star. It floated towards the center, spinning gently in the air before snapping into place. A soft chime rang out,
and the star flickered slightly brighter. The second fragment followed, spinning like a golden snowflake. The star's glow strengthened further, radiating warmth across the square. Children gasped, pointing at the shimmer of light dancing across the snow-covered rooftops. Finally, Ethan held the third fragment, the largest and brightest of all. As he released it, the fragments merged with the star in a burst of golden light. A warm wave of energy rippled across the square, lighting every decoration, every snowflake, and every smiling face. The star pulsed brilliantly, filling the sky with shimmering golden rays that reflected off every surface. The crowd erupted in cheers. Children jumped and clapped, and parents hugged each other in amazement. Lily gasped, "It's perfect! Look at it!" Jacob laughed, eyes wide with wonder. "We did it! We actually did it!" Mayor Thompson stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with pride. "Ethan Parker, Lily, and Jacob, you have restored the Christmas magic of Evergreen Falls. The council could not have chosen better children for this task. Your hearts, your courage, and your imagination have returned the light to our town." Ethan felt a warm glow in his chest. The trials, the forest, the hill, they had all led to this moment. He looked around at his friends, their faces flushed with excitement and joy. The magic wasn't just in the star, it was in them, and in the love and belief they shared. Lily nudged him. "We still have to tell everyone about the trials. They're going to think we just walked through the snow." Jacob laughed. "Well, a little mystery never hurts." The crowd continued to cheer as the three of them watched the star, their hearts full of wonder and pride. The elf hat jingled softly on Ethan's head, the sound blending with the gentle hum of the glowing star. Everything felt right. Evergreen Falls was alive again with magic, and the town had never seemed more beautiful. Ethan looked at his friends and said, "We did it together. That's the real magic." Lily smiled. "Yeah, the best kind of magic." Jacob grinned. "And now, the parade can start." With the star shining brightly above them, the three friends joined the other children in celebration. Music filled the air, laughter echoed across the town square, and the snow sparkled as if every flake were alive. For Ethan, Lily, and Jacob, it was the most magical Christmas they had ever experienced, one they would never forget. And as the golden light of the star bathed Evergreen Falls in warmth, they knew that this was only the beginning of the adventures Christmas magic had in store for them.
Evergreen Falls sparkled under the golden light of the fully restored Christmas star. Music from the holiday parade floated through the town square, mingling with the laughter of children and the jingling of countless Christmas hats. The warmth of magic and friendship wrapped around Ethan, Lily, and Jacob like a soft blanket. For a moment, everything seemed perfect. The snow shimmered, the decorations twinkled, and the townspeople beamed with joy. But Ethan felt a strange tingle at the back of his neck, the kind he had learned to recognize during the trials. Something was stirring in the magic, a whisper just beyond the warmth of the restored star. "Do you feel that?" Ethan asked, clutching his elf hat. Lily nodded, her brows furrowed. "Yeah, like the magic is trying to tell us something." Jacob tilted his head. "Are you saying there's more? I thought we finished everything." Ethan shook his head. "I don't know, but the way the fragments reacted, it's like they're pointing to something else, something hidden." Mayor Thompson, noticing the trio's serious expressions, stepped closer. "Ethan, Lily, Jacob, the council often speaks of forgotten wishes. When magic is restored, it awakens not only joy, but also hope that has been buried. You may be feeling that." Lily's eyes widened. "Forgotten wishes?" The mayor nodded. "Some wishes are so small or hidden that no one remembers them, but Christmas magic senses them. They gather, waiting for someone to notice." Jacob's eyes sparkled with excitement. "So, We're going on another adventure? Like bonus magic? Ethan laughed softly, though the tingle in his chest remained. Maybe, but I think this one might be different. It's not about tests or fragments. It's about people's hearts. The three friends followed the golden glow of the star as it pulsed faintly, not just in the sky, but across the town square. The light seemed to shimmer in unexpected places, by windows where children had left small notes to Santa, near the edges of snow-covered rooftops, even in the shadows of lampposts along the streets. "Look," Ethan said, pointing to a small alley where a faint sparkle danced above a snowdrift. "The magic is moving." Lily stepped forward cautiously. "It's like it wants us to follow." Jacob grinned, already running ahead. "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go." The glow led them away from the bustling town square, past rows of decorated shops and houses, and finally to the edge of Evergreen Falls, where the snow-covered hills met the dark line of the forest. Here, the magic pulsed stronger, guiding them to a clearing surrounded by whispering pines. In the center of the clearing lay a small wooden chest, half buried in snow. Its lock glimmered with frost, engraved with tiny runes that shimmered in the golden light of the star above. "What's in there?" Lily whispered, kneeling to inspect it. Ethan reached out, his elf hat jingling softly. "I think it's waiting for us." As he touched the chest, the lock clicked open on its own. The lid creaked as it slowly lifted, revealing dozens of small envelopes, each glowing faintly. The names written on them seemed familiar, though faintly shimmering like old memories. "Forgotten wishes," the mayor's voice echoed softly in Ethan's mind. "These are wishes that people made and forgot, hopes that were buried but never gone." Lily picked up one envelope. She opened it carefully and gasped. "It's a note from a child, from last Christmas. They wished their father could be home for Christmas, but he was away and never knew about it." Jacob opened another. "This one says a kid wanted their dog to come back from the shelter, and they forgot they even wrote it down." Ethan looked at the glowing chest and felt a surge of determination. "The star brought us here. It wants us to help make these wishes real. That's the next part of the magic." The whispers of the pines grew louder, gentle yet insistent. "Use your hearts. Restore hope. Bring joy." Lily smiled softly. "It's not like the trials we had before. There's no danger, just kindness and hope." Jacob's eyes twinkled. "Yeah, and imagination. I mean, think about it. We can bring these wishes to life." Ethan nodded. "Then we need a plan. We can't just hand out the wishes randomly. We have to make them happen in the right way, carefully, so the magic works fully." The three friends divided the envelopes between them. Each one felt heavy with the hope it contained, and yet they also felt lighter, like they carried a spark of someone else's heart. The first envelope in Ethan's hand shimmered stronger than the others. He read it quietly. "I wish to make a new friend this Christmas." He smiled, thinking about the magic around them, the glow of the fragments, the shining star, the whispering pines. All of it was alive with possibility. "Okay," Ethan said. "Let's start small. We can bring each of these wishes to life, one by one, imagine it happening, and then let the magic take care of the rest." Lily and Jacob nodded. They began with the wishes closest to the clearing, letting the golden light of the star guide them. As they imagined each wish coming true, the envelopes glowed brighter, then vanished in a flash of sparkling snow. Soon, tiny miracles began to unfold around them. A snow-covered bench suddenly had two children laughing together, sharing cocoa and candy canes. A lonely puppy appeared beside a child who had been hoping for companionship. Even small lights flickered on in houses where families had forgotten to decorate.
brightening windows across the snowy town. Jacob laughed with delight. "It's working! Look, everything's happening!" Lily smiled, feeling warmth spread through her chest. "It's amazing. The magic really listens when you believe." Ethan felt proud yet humbled. The magic wasn't just about him, Lily, or Jacob, it was about the hearts they were helping to touch. The glow from the fragments pulsed in rhythm with the wishes, as if the star was thanking them for their efforts. As they completed the last of the envelopes, a soft, melodious sound filled the clearing, a gentle chime, like the elf hat jingling, multiplied 1,000 times. The whispers of the pines swirled around them, joyful and full of gratitude. Hope restored, joy renewed, belief rewarded. Ethan looked up at the star shining above the town square. It pulsed brightly, more radiant than ever. Evergreen Falls was alive with magic again, and the forgotten wishes had been awakened, bringing warmth, friendship, and happiness to every corner of Evergreen Falls. Lily turned to Ethan and Jacob. "We really did it. Not just the star, but all of this." Jacob grinned. "Yeah, we brought the magic to life, literally." Ethan nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride and peace. Christmas magic isn't just lights or stars or snow, it's hope, friendship, and believing even in the things you forget. And now, it's stronger than ever. The three friends stood together in the clearing, watching the golden light ripple across the snow. The town below glittered with joy, the whispers of the pines faded into a soft, comforting hum, and the warmth of the star touched every heart in Evergreen Falls. And in that moment, Ethan realized that the greatest magic of all wasn't in the trials or the fragments. It was in the hope and joy they had helped to restore, the belief that even forgotten wishes could come true, and the unbreakable bond of friendship that had guided them through it all.
The next morning arrived with a shimmering frost that coated every rooftop in Evergreen Falls. The town looked as if it had been dipped in powdered sugar, and even the air glittered when the sun peeked over the horizon. Ethan, Lily, and Jacob gathered outside Ethan's house, bundled in scarves and thick jackets. Christmas was only 2 days away, and the children could feel the excitement pulsing through the town like a heartbeat. The trio planned to meet Officer Daniels at the frozen lake, where they were supposed to help inspect the area for the upcoming Christmas parade rehearsal. But today, they also had another mission: the mysterious ice reflection they had spotted the night before. That light wasn't ordinary, and the strange symbol they glimpsed inside it still stuck in their minds like a puzzle waiting to be solved. "Do you guys think the light will still be there?" Lily asked, hugging her arms for warmth. "It has to be," Jacob replied, determination flashing in his eyes. "Stuff like that doesn't happen for no reason." Ethan nodded, though he felt his heart thumping harder than usual. "Let's find out." As they walked toward the lake, they noticed the preparations for the parade had doubled overnight. Colorful banners hung from shop windows, wreaths decorated lampposts. Volunteers wearing holiday sweaters hurried across the streets carrying boxes filled with ornaments. The entire town appeared to be buzzing with festive energy. Yet, beneath all the cheerful noise, Ethan sensed something else, something quiet, something waiting. They reached the lake, where the thick sheet of ice stretched across the surface like a giant glass mirror. Officer Daniels stood near the shore, talking to Mr. Parker, the event coordinator. Both men waved when they saw the kids approach. "Good to see you three," Officer Daniels said. "We're double-checking the ice for safety. Just stay close and don't wander too far." "Got it," Ethan replied. But of course they were going to wander, just not in a dangerous way. They had a mystery to solve. The children walked along the edge of the lake until they found the spot they had discovered last night. The sunlight reflected off the ice, making it difficult to see anything at first. Lily bent down and brushed off a layer of powdery snow. "It should be somewhere around here." Jacob squinted. leaning closer. "Guys, look!" A faint shimmer moved beneath the ice, almost like a soft glow trapped deep inside. Ethan dropped to his knees and placed his gloved hand on the surface. The cold stung, even through his mitten, but he pressed harder, trying to see more clearly. "The symbol," Ethan whispered. "It's still there." But this time, the shape wasn't just a reflection. It was clearer, almost carved into the ice itself, a swirling pattern surrounded by tiny star-like shapes. "It looks like a message," Lily said softly. "But who would carve something under the ice?" Jacob asked. Ethan shook his head. "I don't think a person did this. It feels magical." Just then, a sudden breeze whipped across the lake, bringing with it a swirl of sparkling snowflakes. The air grew colder, and a faint humming sound vibrated through the ice. The symbol glowed brighter. Guys," Jacob whispered, "should we be scared?" Before Ethan could answer, the light expanded, illuminating the children's faces. The ice seemed to pulse, almost like it was breathing. Then the glow faded as quickly as it had appeared, leaving behind the faint outline of the symbol. Only now, there was something new. A trail of ice cracks that formed an arrow pointing toward the forest on the opposite side of the lake. "A direction," Ethan said, his voice trembling, not with fear, but excitement. "It's telling us where to go." Lily's eyes widened. "But why us? Why kids?" "Because we're the ones who found it. Maybe we were supposed to." Ethan felt the same sensation he had felt since the first time he wore his Christmas hat, the strange warmth in his chest, the sense that something bigger than himself was guiding him. Christmas magic didn't always show up as twinkling lights or jingling bells. Sometimes it came as a feeling, a purpose. "We have to follow it," Ethan said firmly. "Not right now," Lily reminded. "Officer Daniels is right there. We can't just disappear." Jacob sighed. "She's right. We need a plan." For now, they focused on helping the adults inspect the lake. They walked around, measuring the ice's thickness, checking for weak spots, and placing orange safety markers. But all three kids kept glancing toward the forest, wondering what secrets waited in the snow-covered shadows. After an hour, Officer Daniels clapped his hands. "Great work, everyone. The ice is safe for tomorrow's rehearsal. The parade is going to be amazing." Ethan smiled, though his mind buzzed with questions. If the lake was safe now, what about the symbol? Was it warning them about something, or inviting them? As they walked back toward town, Lily tapped Ethan's shoulder. "When do we follow the arrow?" "Tonight," Ethan whispered, "when everyone's asleep." Jacob grinned in that mischievous way he always did before a big adventure. "I knew you'd say that." That evening, the children met behind Jacob's house, flashlights in hand. The sky was dark, speckled with countless stars, and the moon cast a silvery glow across the frosted world. Their breaths formed clouds in the cold air. "Ready?" Ethan asked. "Ready," Jacob replied. "Let's do it," Lily added. They walked carefully through the quiet town, avoiding the brightly lit windows and sticking to the shadows. The snow under their boots crunched softly, marking their path with little footprints. When they reached the lake, the ice was still glowing faintly beneath the moonlight. They crossed the frozen surface, following the arrow-like cracks etched in the ice. It felt surreal, like stepping into another world. The closer they got to the forest, the more Ethan felt that warm feeling inside him again. Finally, they reached the edge of the trees. The arrow ended there. The forest loomed ahead, dark and tall. "So now what?" Jacob asked. Ethan raised his flashlight and pointed it forward. "Now we find out what the message means." He stepped into the woods first, the snow-covered branches rustling softly, as if welcoming them. But before they could take another step, a soft whisper echoed through the trees. "Find the heart." The children froze. "Did you hear that?" Lily gasped.
Jacob nodded, eyes wide. That wasn't the wind. Ethan swallowed hard. It wants us to find something. Something important. He took a deep breath. Let's go. And together they walked deeper into the forest toward a mystery that had waited for them all along.
The forest felt different that night. Still, silent, and filled with a soft glow that didn't seem to come from the moon or their flashlights. Ethan, Lily, and Jacob stepped cautiously between the tall, snow-covered pines, each footstep crunching like a tiny whisper in the darkness. The voice they had heard, "Find the heart," still echoed in their minds, leaving a mix of fear and excitement swirling inside them. "Do you think it was a real voice?" Lily whispered. Ethan nodded slowly. "I don't think it was a person, but it wasn't just the wind either." Jacob tried to sound brave, though his breath shivered in the cold. "Maybe it was Christmas spirit, like the actual Christmas spirit talking to us." Lily raised an eyebrow. "Christmas spirit talks?" "Hey, after everything we've seen this week," Jacob said, "nothing surprises me anymore." He had a point. The deeper they walked, the brighter the forest seemed to glow. Small frost crystals sparkled on branches like tiny stars. Snowflakes drifted gently down even though the sky looked clear, as if the forest was creating its own weather. Then suddenly, snap! A branch cracked behind them. The kids spun around, flashlights up, hearts pounding. "Something's there," Ethan said. Out from behind a tree hopped a deer, a small one, with soft brown fur and big round eyes. It looked at them curiously, but without fear. Lily let out a shaky laugh. "Okay, not a monster." The deer slowly approached, stopping just a few feet away. Then it turned its head toward a narrow path hidden behind a row of bushes. "Is it showing us something?" Jacob asked. The deer took a few steps down the path, then looked back as if waiting for them. "I think it wants us to follow," Ethan said. Normally, following a wild animal into the woods at night would be a terrible idea, but tonight didn't feel normal. It felt like the forest itself had chosen them. They followed the deer through the winding, snowy path until they reached a clearing. In the center stood a massive oak tree, so old and towering that its trunk looked like something out of a fairy tale. Snow blanketed its roots, and thin threads of silver frost wrapped around its bark like swirling ribbons. "Whoa," Jacob breathed. "That's the biggest tree I've ever seen." Lily stepped closer. "It's beautiful." Ethan stared at the trunk. Something glimmered near the base of the tree. He knelt down and brushed away the snow. There, carved into the bark, was the same symbol they had seen under the ice. A swirl surrounded by small star-like shapes. "It's the same mark, exactly the same." "So the ice message led us here, to this tree." "But why? What's special about it?" Before anyone could answer, the ground beneath the tree began to glow, softly at first, then brighter, like light rising from the roots. The deer backed away calmly as if it understood what was happening. The glow pulsed and the swirling symbol on the bark shimmered. Then, thump. Something snapped open inside the tree. A small round wooden door, hidden almost perfectly in the bark, swung outward. The kids gasped. "Is that a door?" Jacob whispered. Lily nodded, speechless. Ethan reached out slowly, touching the edge. "It's warm." Inside the open space lay a small wooden box, carved with the same swirling star pattern. Ethan lifted it carefully.
"What do you think is inside?" Lily asked. "Only one way to know," Jacob said. Ethan opened the box. Inside was a crystal, heart-shaped, clear as glass, but glowing with soft red light. It pulsed gently, almost like it was alive. A warm wave spread across the clearing, surrounding the children. Ethan felt the same warmth in his chest that he had felt before, but stronger, so much stronger. "This must be the heart," Lily whispered, "the one the voice wanted us to find." "But what does it do?" Jacob asked. Before Ethan could speak, the crystal began to glow brighter, filling the clearing with a warm red light. Snowflakes swirled upward instead of down. The deer bowed its head. The trees rustled with a soft wind that whispered like laughter. And then they heard it again. A gentle, calming voice. "You have found the heart of Evergreen." The children froze. The voice came from everywhere, from the trees, from the ground, from the air around them. Long ago, this forest was the source of Christmas warmth for the town of Evergreen Falls. But over time, the magic faded. Only those pure of heart could restore it. You three have proven yourselves. Ethan couldn't breathe. The voice wasn't frightening, it felt peaceful, soothing, comforting, like a blanket wrapped around them. "What do we do with it?" Lily asked softly. "You must protect it, for a great shadow approaches. Something seeks to steal the warmth and joy from your town. Only the heart can stop it. Return it to the place where the first Christmas tree once stood." "The town center?" Ethan asked. "Exactly," the voice whispered, "but be careful. Not everyone wishes for Christmas joy." The glow faded, and the forest fell silent again. The deer stepped forward, lowering its head as if giving permission for them to take the heart. Ethan closed the box gently and held it close. "We have to bring this back," he said. "But the voice said a shadow is coming," Jacob murmured. "What does that even mean?" Lily shivered. "Whatever it is, we can't let it get the heart." Ethan nodded. "Tomorrow is the parade rehearsal. That's when everyone will be there. That's when something bad could happen." "We'll be ready," Jacob said firmly. "We have to be," Ethan replied. They turned and began walking back through the forest. Each step heavier than before, the weight of the heart felt like responsibility, like destiny. But they weren't alone. Their friendship, their courage, and the magic of Christmas were guiding them. As they reached the lake again, the arrow in the ice glowed faintly one last time, then vanished completely, as if the message had been delivered and its purpose complete. The children looked at each other. Tomorrow could change everything, and they had no idea what waited for them in the shadows.
The next morning, the entire town buzzed with excitement. Evergreen Falls had never looked more beautiful. Lights twinkled along rooftops, wreaths decorated every window, and the aroma of peppermint cocoa drifted through the air. Today was the Christmas parade rehearsal, and the whole town would gather in the center square. Ethan, Lily, and Jacob walked together, bundled in coats, scarves, and hats. Though their faces showed excitement, a heavy worry sat in their minds. Hidden beneath Ethan's thick jacket was the wooden box containing the glowing heart. The memory of last night's voice still echoed inside them. "A great shadow approaches." Ethan kept one hand pressed against the box as they walked. He didn't know what this shadow would be, but he knew it was coming, and it would be coming soon. Do you feel like everyone's acting normal? Jacob whispered. Lily nodded as she surveyed the cheerful crowd. Yeah, no one seems to know anything is wrong. They have no clue the magic of Christmas is in danger. Good, Ethan whispered. If they knew, they'd panic. And if something's coming for the heart, we need to stay alert. As they reached the town square, they saw huge candy cane decorations, rows of parade floats, and a large stage set up in front of the old clock tower. The giant Christmas tree, tall, glittering, and wrapped in golden lights, stood proudly at the center of everything. Mr. Parker hustled around with a clipboard, giving instructions to volunteers. Carolers practiced songs nearby, and children rehearsed their roles for the parade. Officer Daniels waved when he spotted the kids. Glad you're here. We've got a big day. Stick close, okay? Lots of movement and equipment everywhere. Sure thing, Ethan replied. But they had another mission, returning the heart to where the first Christmas tree once stood. According to the voice, that place was the very center of town. The problem was, they didn't know exactly how to return it. Did they place it somewhere? Did they say something? Did they wait for something to happen? We need to figure out what to do, Lily whispered. Ethan nodded. Let's watch the area first. Maybe we'll get a clue. Jacob tugged his hat down tightly. And we better watch for whoever the shadow is. They wandered around, observing every part of the town square. People bustled about, laughing and carrying boxes of decorations. Everything looked bright, normal, joyful. But something felt off. A cold breeze swept through the square, harsher than usual, sharp enough for Ethan to shiver. The golden lights on the Christmas tree flickered once, then steadied. Jacob frowned. Did you guys see that? Ethan nodded. Yeah. That wasn't normal, Lily whispered. The wind blew again, this time colder, unnaturally cold, like a breath from deep winter. Decorations swayed. A banner snapped loose. A few people looked around nervously. Then the sky dimmed. Not completely, just a shadow passing over the sun, but it was enough to make the festive atmosphere pause. Something's wrong, Ethan murmured. Just then, an elderly woman carrying boxes dropped them when a sudden wind nearly knocked her over. Ethan rushed to help her. Are you all right, ma'am? Yes, dear, but this wind, it feels strange. Her voice trembled. Strange, unnatural, wrong. Ethan helped her up, but his eyes were on the sky. Clouds gathered quickly. Thick, gray, swirling clouds that looked far too heavy for a cheerful December morning. Lily stepped closer. This isn't normal weather. As the clouds swirled, Jacob whispered, You think the shadow is coming now? Ethan opened his coat and checked the wooden box. The heart pulsed faster, its red glow growing brighter, almost urgent. It knows. It senses something, Ethan whispered. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed across the square. People jumped and gasped. The giant Christmas tree lights flickered again, this time longer. The star on the top glowed brightly, then dimmed as if something was draining its power. Then, another wind gust, this one ice cold, swept through the crowd. Decorations rattled, a float nearly tipped, several children grabbed their parents in fear. Officer Daniels shouted, Everyone stay calm, it's just wind. But Ethan knew better. The shadow had arrived. Then the clock tower bell rang once, twice, 3 times. But instead of the warm gong it usually made, the sound came out distorted, warped, almost metallic. Lily grabbed Ethan's arm. That's not the normal bell. Jacob pointed toward the tower. Look! At the top of the clock tower, a dark figure stood. Tall, still, wrapped in a swirling cloak of shadows. Its face couldn't be seen, only 2 faint blue lights where eyes should be. The figure didn't move, it just watched. The crowd murmured in confusion. Some people even clapped, thinking it was part of the parade.
But Ethan, Jacob, and Lily felt the icy fear spreading through them like frost. "It's looking at us," Ethan whispered. "It wants the heart," Lily said. Jacob swallowed hard. "We can't let it get it." The figure slowly raised one arm. The air around it shimmered, darkening. The clouds above swirled faster, forming a heavy storm vortex. Snow began falling, but not the soft, gentle snow Evergreen Falls was known for. These flakes were sharp, cold, almost like tiny pieces of ice. People screamed and ran for shelter as the storm intensified. Ethan pulled his coat tighter around the wooden box. "We have to protect it." "But where do we take it?" Jacob shouted over the wind. Lily pointed at the center of the square, the spot beneath the giant Christmas tree. "The heart belongs there. That's where the first Christmas tree once stood." "How do you know?" Jacob shouted. "I don't," Lily yelled, "but I feel it." Ethan trusted that feeling. "Let's go," he shouted. They sprinted through the panicking crowd, snow whipping into their faces. Decorations flew off stands, a float nearly tipped. The storm raged harder as the shadow figure slowly descended the tower, gliding rather than walking. It was coming for them. Ethan reached the base of the giant Christmas tree. He set the wooden box on the ground and opened it. The heart glowed brilliantly, brighter than ever. Lily stepped back. "Now what?" "I don't know," Ethan cried. Jacob looked up as the shadow figure reached the edge of the square. "We're running out of time." Ethan held the glowing heart in both hands. "Please, please, tell me what to do." The heart pulsed once, then again. Then, a beam of red light shot upward from the crystal, striking the Christmas tree. The golden lights turned fiery bright. The star on the top burst into a radiant glow. The entire square flooded with warm light. The storm hesitated. The shadow figure stopped, and the heart glowed brighter, almost too bright to look at. Something powerful was awakening, something the shadow didn't expect. Ethan, Lily, and Jacob shielded their eyes as the heart's magic prepared to burst into life. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the battle for Evergreen Falls.
The beam of red light shooting from the Heart of Evergreen filled the entire town square with a brilliance no one had ever seen before. It was warm, powerful, and pulsing like the heartbeat of Christmas itself. Ethan, Lily, and Jacob stood close to the glowing crystal as the storm raged around them, snow whipping violently through the air, decorations flying, and people huddled together in fear. But in that glow, they felt safe. The shadow figure stepped forward, its cloak trailing like smoke across the frozen ground. Its pale blue eyes narrowed as it stared at the children holding the heart. "It's angry," Jacob whispered, gripping Lily's arm. "Because it knows the heart is stronger than it," Lily said firmly. Ethan held the crystal high. "We're not afraid of you." The shadow lifted its arm. A wave of icy wind surged toward them, swirling like a blizzard tornado. It hit the light, but the light didn't break. Instead, it pushed back, stronger than before, sending a warm ripple across the town square. The Christmas tree flickered again, then exploded into full brightness. Every light, every ornament, every golden ribbon shined like a star. The giant star at the top of the tree burned with dazzling brilliance. People gasped, staring in awe. "Mommy, look! It's magic!" a small child cried. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped closer to the tree. "It wants us to finish it. We have to return the heart." "But how?" Jacob asked. Lily gazed up at the tree. "In the stories, the first Christmas tree stood here. If that's true, then this tree must be connected. Put the heart at the center." Ethan nodded. The shadow figure let out a low, growling growl as it realized what they were about to do. It surged forward, sweeping across the ground like a storm cloud. "Hurry!" Lily shouted. Ethan dropped to his knees at the base of the tree.
Snow blew into his face, stinging like needles, but he held the crystal tightly. A small, hollow space appeared between the roots, as if the tree itself opened for him. "The tree, it's ready," Ethan said. "Do it!" Jacob screamed. The shadow roared as it lunged forward, and Ethan placed the heart inside the hollow. The instant it touched the tree's roots, the ground shook. A massive shockwave of warm light burst outward, spreading across the square, through the streets, and into every corner of Evergreen Falls. Houses lit up one by one. Lampposts glowed brighter. Lights shimmered in windows. It was as if the entire town took a deep, warm breath. The shadow staggered backward, its cloak whipping wildly. It raised both arms to shield itself from the light, but it was no use. The brilliance grew stronger, spreading upward through the branches of the tree. Lily and Jacob backed up, shielding their eyes. A final beam shot from the star at the top of the tree, cutting through the swirling storm clouds above. The sky cracked open with golden light, scattering the darkness like shattered glass. The shadow figure let out one final roar, then exploded into sparkling dust that vanished into the sky. The storm vanished instantly. The snow softened. The town square fell completely silent. Then, the giant Christmas tree glowed with a warm, steady radiance. The breeze became gentle, the air warmer, and the decorations that had fallen scattered back into place as if guided by invisible hands. Officer Daniel stepped out from behind a float, eyes wide. What just happened? Mr. Parker dropped his clipboard. Was that real? Parents held their children tight. Everyone stared at the glowing tree, then at the three kids standing in front of it. Lily brushed snow from her hat. "Ethan, I think we just saved Evergreen Falls." Ethan exhaled shakily. "We did." Jacob looked up at the sky, now clear and shimmering with stars. "And we beat the shadow." For a moment, the entire town simply stared, shocked, confused, amazed. Then an elderly woman, the same one Ethan had helped earlier, stepped forward. "Bless you, children. You brought back the light," she whispered softly. One by one, others joined her. Applause broke out. Cheers filled the air. Families hugged. Children laughed. And slowly the fear melted away, replaced by joy. Pure, warm Christmas joy. Mayor Thompson rushed over, breathless. "You three, what did you do?" Ethan exchanged a knowing glance with his friends. They could not explain everything, not because they didn't want to, but because the magic wasn't something that could be described with simple words. Just Christmas magic," Ethan said with a smile. Lily nodded, "And we were just in the right place at the right time." Jacob added proudly, "And wearing the right hats." The mayor laughed. "Well, however you did it, you saved our parade, and maybe even our whole town." As the crowd celebrated, the children stepped aside, watching the star atop the tree glow stronger than ever. The heart had merged with the tree completely, its magic now part of Evergreen Falls forever. Lily whispered, "Do you think the magic will stay?" Ethan nodded. "I think that's why the forest gave it to us, to protect the joy of Christmas for everyone." Jacob smiled. "Then we did it. We really did." Just then, the deer from the forest appeared at the edge of the square. It looked at the children, nodded once, as if saying goodbye, and then turned and trotted back into the woods. The kids watched it disappear between the trees. The Christmas parade rehearsal turned into a giant celebration. Music filled the town square, families danced, lights twinkled brighter than ever. Everything felt warmer, happier, more alive. Ethan, Lily, and Jacob stood together beneath the shining tree. "We're never gonna forget this Christmas," Lily said softly. "Never," Jacob agreed. Ethan smiled, "because this year, we didn't just celebrate Christmas. We protected it," Lily finished. "And saved it," Jacob said proudly. Ethan looked at his friends. "Together." Snowflakes drifted gently from the sky. Soft, peaceful, perfect. And so, in the heart of Evergreen Falls, beneath the brightest Christmas tree the town had ever seen, the magic of Christmas lived again. And the story, the video, ends here.